Find Yourself podcast, take one.
All right.
Oh, hello, guys. Wow.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Finding Yourself podcast. I'm Abby. I'm your host. And if you're watching the video, you're probably like, Abby, where the heck are you? And why are you recording on your phone? Number one, I'm in my car. And number two, I'm recording on my phone because my camera died and it's fine. And why do I look yellow? Because it's nighttime and I'm literally in front of Malibu. Let me just take the camera. Wow, that was not supposed to be. So literally Malibu Beach is right over there and it is so pretty. It's gorgeous, but I am flipping you back and putting you back there. Okay, so hi guys, welcome back to Tough Skin Podcast. Wow, no, welcome back to Finding Yourself Podcast. I found myself saying Tough Skin Podcast in my other podcast too, so it was a little rough to move on. But I'm your host. I hope you guys have been enjoying the episodes. I love podcasting. For me, it's kind of like therapy. So, and I know that honestly, I don't know. It's hard because I guess some people don't like long form content, but I love long form content. So I'm usually in my kitchen or cleaning, cooking, and I'm listening to a podcast and it's great. So wherever you have me, if you have me in your car, if you have me wherever, just sit down, chit chat, clean your room, get it together, girl, get your stuff together. Anyways, welcome back to the podcast. So people are walking and no, they didn't look at me. It's fine. I felt to record in my car because I feel like it's very quiet and I feel like the audio is really, really great in the car. So stay tuned for car content because I don't know, I feel like it's nice. It's relaxing. And for me, my car is kind of like my therapy. My car is it's a place where I cry. It's a place where I eat. It's a place where I do a lot of things in my car. And I'm very on the go. So as you can tell, I have my Zoom recorder right here. And it's perfect to just be mobile because sometimes I feel like if you have it in the house, it's just a lot. So I'm just going to take you guys with me. And I'm really explaining this a lot in the first 3 minutes. Anyways, welcome to Finding Yourself podcast. And today's episode, I felt from God to kind of just grab the camera, grab my phone, grab my mic, and record a podcast about transitions. So, transitions. What do you mean transitions? Whether you're transitioning or the waiting season. Ooh, I like that. In the waiting. This is, finding yourself in the waiting. Actually, that's actually really good. So, I'm kind of just going to talk. So I don't have a script. I don't have anything, but I have been in the season of waiting. If you don't know, now you know. I was very nervous about all this stuff because if you guys know, now you know, well, you guys do know. So I took a trip. I didn't take a trip. I took a move to California, and by faith, I quit my job. I quit my 4-year job at King Jesus Ministry to move to California because God put it in my heart to move to LA, and now I'm here. And it's very crazy because last year, a lot of things that were in my heart are not there anymore, if that makes sense. Whatever. That's a whole nother story. But so I took this not vacation. I took this move and I felt from God to move here, and I had a job lined up. I had my house lined up. I have everything lined up, and I'm okay, God, I'm doing this by faith. I'm doing this with you. You'll never leave me. You'll never forsake me. Someone, my friend, she told me, she goes, when has God ever failed you? And I go, never. And he goes, will he fail you now? And I'm no, he'll never fail me. So I'm trying to get to a point here. So I moved to California. I had a job lined up, had my home loan lined up, and I got here and I was ready, to start my job, and I was ready for things. Actually, no. I got here and my job fell through. So it fell through, my income fell through, and I was like, God, how are we going to do it? And I remember I was there like 12 days in, and I'm like, Lord, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. And when I first came to California, you guys will see the vlogs and stuff. You guys are finally seeing all the moving content because your girl has been, it's been rough. Like, how do I explain it? I'm not able, basically what happened is if I can't give you my best, I'd rather not give it to you. So for example, like with these moving vlogs, I want to edit them, not to perfection, because whatever, I'm a perfectionist, I get it. I wanted to, not perfection. I wanted to like make it feel like a movie or like a reality TV show, because I love reality TV. But basically, I was moving, I was, fixing my room, I was doing everything. You guys will see those vlogs soon. And I was trying to fix everything, and I was only filming, and I did not have the mental capacity to podcast. I did not have the mental capacity to edit. I didn't have the mental capacity to do anything, because literally each day I was just doing something different. I was literally fixing my room, getting my life together. My roommates would be like, are you okay? Because I'm literally in my room every single day, just like fixing, cleaning, making my computer good, fixing cabinets, fixing things. And it was just like a lot of things to process. So that was the first 2 weeks of me in LA. I was kind of cooped up in my room, and then something happened with my car, because good old Destiny, we drove her from Miami to California. And if you guys want a podcast where I explain all that process, I'll make it for you guys. But basically, it was it started in Texas. It started in Texas that like a lot of alarms started popping up in my car, and I was like, God, like I don't know why, like it's acting up. And then it happened in Nevada again, and it happened here. And then when I was in California, it would stop, and then it would happen again. So I was like, let me just take it to the car dealership and figure it out. So I took it to like my local maintenance person, and I took it to him, and he basically charged me a certain amount of money to get like it replaced. And I'm like, God, what the heck? So it's like, it's a lot, and I saved obviously, money for rent and for things. I didn't put into account the cost of living, because it's really expensive here, and it's fine. But, God hasn't failed me yet. So yeah. So then after that, so I've just been waiting on that, and I was fixing, and I was getting my life together, and I was like, okay, God, 2 weeks in, I need a job. I was like, I need to start something, like any day now. And I just remember that the next week, I'm still at home, and I was like, God, you need to come through. Like you need to come through, because I'm in this waiting process, and it's really hard. And it's really hard, like waiting on a job and waiting and not knowing, what's next and what's in the future. And that brings us here today, that I fell from God to go on a solo date with him. And I heard God this morning. No, I heard God last night, because what you see on the vlogs are very like highlights. It's a lot. I mean, I try to be as real and vulnerable as I possibly can on there. I mean, it's not a vlog if I'm not crying. Like, it's literally okay to not be okay. And yeah, it's not like an Abby vlog if there's like no crying or like whatever. Everybody knows like I'm a big crier. Like I'm a crier, like point blank period. And I just remember last night I was really in my emotions. Like I was really, really like nervous. And it wasn't anxiety. It wasn't a panic attack. Like it's not any of that. I was just like really nervous that I'm like, God, like I need something to happen. I like to be in control. Like I like to have everything like placed in a piece. Like I like to be in control. And I remember I opened up this book, and it's called Crazy Faith by Mike Todd. It's a really good book. Amazing book. So I opened up that book and I started reading it. And the craziest thing, guys, the chapter that I was reading, it was called Waiting Faith. And I'm like, God, what are you trying to say? You want me to wait on you? Like, you want me to wait on the Lord? Like, I'm here to wait on you. Like, okay, God, I'm waiting on you. And I remember reading it and I was like, oh, okay, fine. Like, I'm just gonna read it. And then I read it and it just really impacted me, because it was kind of just being like, like, we have to wait on the Lord. Like, we have to put our trust in him. We have to put faith in him, that even if we don't know what's in front of us, and even though we don't know what's next, God's like, do you trust me? And I remember reading that and I was like, wow, God, like, I do trust you. I really do trust you. And then over the weeks, like, the Holy Spirit has been putting the verses in my heart of like, I remember us sitting in my kitchen and I was, reading my word, spending time with my Lord, with my God. And I remember reading this verse in Proverbs, and it was literally saying, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. For all your ways acknowledge him, and like, he'll make your known path, right? And I remember reading it, and growing up Christian, because I don't know if you guys grew up Christian, I grew up Christian. So growing up Christian, like, my mom made me memorize these Bible verses. So I knew that Bible verse from like, God knows where. Like, I've known that Bible verse. I've read the Bible verse. I've declared those Bible verses over my life, on and on and on and on, right? But this time, as I was reading it, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. And God literally looks at me and he goes, do you trust me? And you should see, I'm so glad that my roommates were sleeping, but I had my headphones on and I'm crying. Like, I'm looking at my notebook and I'm looking at my Bible and I'm just like, and it's like, if you literally walked out, you would just see like someone here and just being like, and then, because literally God's just talking to me and he's ministering to me, and I'm like, God, he's like, do you trust me? And I told him, I was like, God, of course I trust you. Like, I trust you. And he's like, stop being in control. And that really ministered to me, because I am a very type A personality. Like, I take that on. I am an organized queen. Like, I like schedules. I like routine. I like things like in certain places. Like, it's hard. It's not hard for me. It's hard for me to be spontaneous unless I'm on vacation. But even if I'm on vacation, like, I like planned spontaneity. So yeah. So basically that happened. I read that book, and then that night, yesterday, I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, he's like, I'm going to take you on a date tomorrow. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, cool. And I also I was like, okay, what are we going to do? And he goes, we're going to go on a hike in Malibu. And I was like, okay. So I remember I was crying and I texted my friend. I'm like, hey, do you know the hikes that are like good in Malibu? And she sent me 2 of them. And then she recommended me this one, which is like the Lanois Trail. Like, I don't know, like the trail, one of them. Like, she recommended that to me, and I was like, okay, like, let me try it. And I did it, bro. I said this in like my video about like my date with God, but basically, oh my God, guys, this hike was the hardest hike that I've done. Like, I've done hikes, and like, I'm trying to do all the hikes in Los Angeles so you guys don't have to, and I want to make a video out of it. But I'm honestly going on hikes for my mental health, because it's just so nice to be outside. Like, in Miami, it's flat. Like, you can't go walking, you can't do anything. But here, like, I'm literally staring, like, how do I explain it? The beach is behind me and the mountains are literally up there. Like, that's insane. Like, I live in the most insane place. Like, it's crazy that this is my home, right? And so I go to this trail, I start the hike, I'm starting it. I'm like, okay, cool. Like going up the mountain, do da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, these like plants are whacking me in my face, and I'm walking, and I'm, you know, like I'm literally turning to the side, and the mountain's right there, and I'm like, bro, I'm gonna die. Like I literally feel, and then people are coming, like, you know, like when you go one way and then the person comes next to you, like literally people were like, coming past me, and I was like, bro, these people are gonna run into me, and I'm gonna fall off this mountain, like. And I remember I was going up the mountain and going up the mountain and going up the mountain. And I'm like, bro, this hike never ends. It's like an hour and 30 minutes in. And I'm like, God, I was like, when is it over? I was like, I just want to go home. I was like, I don't want to be here. And I literally, like, I was listening to worship music, and I just found myself complaining the whole time. And I was like, God, like, what the heck? Like, well, like, why am I here? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm on this freaking mountain. Like it's so hard. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. And then I finally, like an hour and 40 minutes later, like maybe 10 minutes later, after like 10,000 stops, I drank all my water from my water bottle, and I get to this view and I see Malibu, and I was like, wow. And I remember during the hike, like I just had my head down, and God was like, look up. And I'm like, no, I don't want to die. Like, I can't look up. And I just remember I would look up and I would see these views, but I would just be so scared to enjoy it because I just wanted to get to the top. And then when I got to the top and I saw the view, and I was like, oh, this is pretty. But then I'm like, this is like kind of like, this is it in a way. And I'm like, what? I was like, and then coming back down, I enjoyed the views a little bit more because I was like, oh, okay, like, wow, the views were actually really pretty in the journey. The views were actually really prettier in the journey. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. So then after I did that, I came down from the mountain. I finally, got to the car. And I was literally thinking, I was like, bro, I'm going to do my makeup. It's going to be like a bachelor date. Like, I'm so excited for this time with God. And literally before this, I was watching Brilliant Women. So shout out to Brilliant Women. I was watching their conference that they had this weekend. And I felt God like shout me out 3 times. And it was very like 2 or 3 times. And I just felt very special. And I'm like, God, like, that's crazy. So the first one was basically on the webcast team. So like, if you know, like, I led the webcast team back in the day, a month ago, and they had their conference and they were just there, and I commented on it because they were like, oh, write on the chat, like, we read your comments, blah blah blah. So I read on the chat, and I was like, I love this so much, like, love this so much, exclamation point, heart. And then my mentor, well, my old mentor, Mabel, was basically interviewing like Prophet Joe, and she was interviewing like Prophet Erica, Pastor Deborah, like all these like big hot shots like in King Jesus ministry. And literally, like, they were talking, and then she was like, she kind of like, not cut someone off, but she was kind of like, oh, like, also, make sure to write in the comments, like, Abby, we see you and we miss you, we love you. And for me, that like really ministered to me, because I was like, it was like God saw me, he saw me out of everyone. And I know that it's just like a simple thing of comments, and I literally, like, I directed webcasts for years, and for me to be on the other side of it, sitting down, commenting, and then for them to say my name and like, I don't know, not like recognizing me in public or like acknowledging me, but the fact that like they acknowledged me when there's a sea of other people, like there's so many other people that commented, there's so many other people from like Colombia, Arkansas, like God knows wherever they are. And little me, like my mentor, saw my comment and she shouted me out, and I was like, wow, like that really ministered to me. And I'm like, God, oh my God. So then after that, I was watching the preaching with Prophet Joe, and she was basically preaching on like suffering, and she was preaching on like, intimate devotion with God. And she said something that was like, whoa, like she said a lot of things, and I was just getting ministered to, honestly, the whole time. But she was saying like these Bible verses about like King David, and then, sorry. I'm like talking so much. She was talking about like King David, and then she brought up Abigail, and she was like, oh, and King David and his wife Abigail. And I was like, I'm Abigail. I was like, I'm Abigail. And literally Teacher Jackie said my name too, and I was like, wow, God, like you're really like shouting me out, because, and then all of a sudden I was looking, I was like, I had to do a double take in the thing, because in the Bible that she was saying that Abigail was like a woman of virtue, that Abigail was a woman that like, you know, she wanted things in control and she wanted things a certain way, but God was like, trust me, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa. I was like, Lord, this is my situation, what I'm dealing with right now. I'm like, has that ever happened to you? Like when you're dealing with something and you hear like a preaching, or you hear someone talking and they're literally talking about the thing that you needed to like talk about? Me. Literally me. So that's that. So those are the two ways there. So now moving on to like the end game. So we get to Malibu. So I get to Malibu. We, as in me and God, right? Like we get to Malibu, and I can't find parking anywhere. Nowhere. Nada. No, nunca. Nowhere. I couldn't find parking anywhere. And I'm like, God, what the heck? Like, this is supposed to be our date. You know, it's literally like 5 o'clock. It's almost 6. You know, the sun's gonna go down, and I want to watch the sunset with you and be super romantic and romanticize you, because like I'm a romantic or whatever. But I couldn't find parking. So I'm like, oh, forget it. I'm like, if I literally went around Malibu, like maybe like 2 times, like going back and forth trying to find parking, and it like parking here in LA is not it. That's a whole nother story. So I ended up paying $15 to get parking, and I'm like, God, you know, I'm not gonna go. The plan was my plan, right? My plan was to go somewhere else and to do that. And then God was like, well, you're not gonna waste your money, aren't you? And I go, no. And he goes, okay, then get your stuff, change in the bathroom, get your stuff, and come here. And then I look in my car. I wanted to do my makeup, all pretty, no makeup, no nothing. And I'm like, oh, God, dang it. It's like all these things are going wrong. And then I go to the bathroom, come back out. I go down. I go down the stairs, and I look, and I'm literally looking, and I'm like, okay, like I can go there. So I go down these stairs, la 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 la. I go down the stairs, and I see these rocks. And I was like, bueno, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have this picnic whether I like it or not. Like, this picnic is gonna happen, and I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. So I was like super determined. So I got this picnic, and I basically went there and I set it up. It was okay looking. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the prettiest, but I was like, okay, God, like, I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I pictured our date being like way better than this, you know, and, you know, I wanted to give him the best, but I was sitting on top of a rock, like a slanted rock like this, and it wasn't the best, but I was like, whatever, it's fine. So I sat there and I started listening to worship music. I was writing in my journal, and I was like, okay, like, this is a vibe. Like, I was eating pan pizza, like, it was like zucchini pizza, and I was like, oh wow, like, this is really good. And, you know, then my family calls, and I'm like, okay, like, let me talk to my family. Oh no. So what ended up happening is the waves just like crashed on me. Like, they like literally like the waves like went whoosh, and then it hit me, and I was like, this is my sign. Like, this is my 13th reason. Like, I need to figure this out. So I ended up moving up rocks, and I'm like, okay, like, guess the picnic's over. But then God's like, stay. He's like, stay, but go up. So then I move like a higher tier up. I move up, and I'm sitting on the higher rocks, and my family calls. So I'm like, okay, like, let me talk to them for a little bit. And they kept talking, and I was like, God was like, you're interrupting our date. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, no, you're right. So then I was like, I have to go. My phone's gonna die. My phone was dying, but I could, like, you know. So I started like actually writing in my journal, like, no phone, no nothing. Like, I wrote literally like these God questions that I had. And I don't know if you guys do this too, or if you guys ever have these questions whenever you feel like you don't know what's next, or you feel like unclear about what's happening. I literally wrote in my journal 17 questions that I was like, God, like, what do you think about this? I was like, God, what do you think about that? I'm like, God, this is happening and that's happening. Like, what do you think about this? And literally, it was like I was writing answer. And I just felt God's presence, you know? And I wasn't here like, like, I wasn't like praying in tongues. I wasn't like opening up my Bible. You know, I wasn't doing any of that. I was literally face to face with God in Malibu. And it was so beautiful because we were out in nature and we were out in things. And I remember writing in my journal, because it says in the Bible, like, everything that has breath shall praise the Lord. So I was like, okay, God, like, I was like struggling about like having my intimate time with God because like I wanted a time and a place for it, you know, but it was like hard because like we were trying to figure out, because like at our women's event on Thursday, our pastora was talking about like, you need to have a specific time and a specific place for God. And you like next week, like, tell us when you have it. And I was like, okay. I was like, where's my specific time with God? Like, I need to find my time and my place. And it's hard, you know, it's hard in these things. So, where was I? Yeah, so I wrote this thing in the journal. And sorry, I'm moving on to it. Okay, cool. So I wrote it in my journal, my handy dandy journal right here. And a little ASMR for you. But so I wrote down in the journal, the mountains mean. So there was like 2 different things that happened to me. So if you notice in the story, when I said I was climbing up the mountain and it was very narrow, and it was like, and I know it says in the Bible, I don't know where, maybe I'll put the verse there, but it basically says like, people that go on the wide path won't make it far, but like those that like stay in the narrow path will be led to me. And this mountain had such a narrow path, and I was like, God, like, I don't get it. And if you also notice, what I said is that in the mountain, I kept complaining. I literally was complaining from the beginning, middle, and end of it. I was complaining about everything. I was complaining about bugs. I was complaining about like, there's like this shot where I almost got like hit by like a bee and I got scared. And then I've never complained this much. I've always been like, oh, this is so pretty, but like there's plants hitting me and vegetation and all this stuff, and I'm like, I hate this. Like, I want to go home. Like, why'd you bring me here? Like, it was like that. Like, God, I felt like such a brat. But I was complaining, and then God goes, you kept complaining on the mountain, but then you made it. And he's like, you didn't die, didn't you? And I go, no. And I just remember thinking about that. And I remember how like I didn't enjoy the journey. Like, I just kept complaining and being in my crap. And I felt like I wasn't in control, because all the other hikes I would make, I would know when it would end, and I would know, like, I could see the top, like the Culver City stairs. Like, I can see the top, you know, the Hollywood sign. Like, I knew that we were going to get there with the guide. Like, you know, at the other hikes, like I knew, but this one, I just saw what was in front of me, and I saw on the right was the views, but I didn't see the end place. And I'm like, well, when am I going to get it there? You know, I was like, I hate this. Like, I literally want to go home. But then I just heard God being like, you need to enjoy the journey of your situation. He's like, you need to enjoy this thing, and you need to wait on me, and you need to wait, and I'm going to give you strength, but you need to wait on me. Like in Isaiah 40, some verse in Isaiah, it basically says like, when you wait on the Lord, he will renew your strength like an eagle. And I just realized, I was like, bro, I need to wait on God. And I'm like, God, I'm so sorry for complaining. And I like, even right now, I feel the presence of God. I was like, God, I'm so sorry. Like, God, I am sorry. Like, God, I'm sorry for complaining. I'm sorry for, you know, not trusting in you, not trusting that you're going to give me a job, not trusting that you're going to take me out of my situation, not like trusting you that you're going to be God over my life, that you're going to be Lord over my life. Like, at the end of the day, I made it here. Like, I'm here. in LA. Like, I'm here doing the will of God. I'm here, doing this. And like I said before, like, when has God ever failed me? Like, when has God ever failed you? Never. God's never going to fail you. He's never going to leave you. He's never going to forsake you, and that's why I'm just trying to say, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey of this. Enjoy the journey of the season, that whatever season that you're in, if you're waiting on hearing God, if you're waiting on a job, if you're waiting on school, if you're waiting on a house, if you're waiting on, allowance, like, whatever you're waiting on for God, like, whatever you're waiting on, just give it to God. And it's as simple as that. And I'm even talking to myself because I'm like, bro, I need to wait on God. I was like, I need to wait on him. It's hard out here. Like, it's not easy. And I'm taking this advice for myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wait on God. I'm going to wait on him. He's going to give me strength. He's going to renew me. And literally today I feel renewed. I feel rejuvenated. I feel rejuvenated. And I feel like he's got me. He's got me and he's got you. And the next thing that I saw was the waves. So the waves crashed on me. And, in the mountains, God was like, what mountain is before you? And I want to tell you guys, like, what mountain is before you? Look at that mountain and tell it to move. Tell it to move. You're stronger than you know. It says in the Bible that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And I need to take that and be like, I'm not fearful. I don't want to be fearful. I don't want to be fearful for what's next. I don't want to be fearful. Like, I need to enjoy this time because I'm never, like, I remember telling my friend this. I was like, I'm never going to be in the season again. I'm never going to be in the season of unemployment. I'm never going to be in the season where I can go on hikes anytime that I want to. I'm never going to be in the season where I'm trying to enjoy it because I feel like once I start my job, I'm going to have to like get this and do this. I was like, I'm going to have to do this and do that. And God knows what I have to do. And it's going to be hard, but I feel his presence, and I trust in him. So that's my tea. And then, So look at the mountains, say move, trust in God. He's got you. So the next thing is waves. So the waves, basically, they were crashing into me, right? So what I wrote here is that God was saying, he's like, I'm here to protect you and value you. Why? Because you're my daughter and you'll never lack. So the waves were just crashing into me. The waves were just coming at me. They're coming in hot. And I was like, God, like, what the heck? Like these waves are just coming at me. Like, I don't get it. And I just, waves could be like issues and strongholds just trying to crash into you and trying to ruin your day. But I was like, you know what? Like, this isn't going to ruin my day. Like, I am happy to be here. And if they want to get me, come at me, bro. Situations come at me, bro. And I know that God's going to have me, so I am here to encourage you guys. If you guys are in a waiting season and you guys are here in the waiting and you're like, I don't know what's next. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through it. I'm here to tell you, like, in the waiting is where you're going to find God more. Like, in the waiting, like, seek God more. Like, literally run to him. Like, what I was saying is that you don't have to be in your room just crying out to God like for an hour and 30 minutes. Like, no, like, I literally spent the whole day with him. I was driving to Malibu and I was getting ministered to. I was crying. I was walking out of my apartment. I was crying. I was literally in Malibu and I'm writing things down in the journal and I'm spending time with God. Like, this is what intimacy with God, into him we see, into his presence we see him. And the fact that I saw him, the mere fact that I saw God, and I'm like, God, you're with me. And literally today I was like, God, I have to trust you. And tonight I'm coming out stronger because, like, when you leave the presence of God, you come out stronger. And I'm literally coming out of this day stronger. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to have a job soon. I don't know if God's going to provide. I don't know if this is going to happen. But what I do, I don't know what's next, but I know that my God, it says in the Bible that my God will provide for all my needs according to his riches and his glory. So homeboy has like gold and silver up in heaven. Do you not think he can give you a new car? Do you not think he can give you a house? Do you not think he can provide for all of your needs? It says all of your needs. It doesn't say one or two of your needs. It says all of your needs. So I am here to boldly say that I'm trusting in God in this season. And I will come back here next week, and I'll come back here another time and be like, guys, look at the testimony. Look at what God did in my life. And this is what finding yourself is. It's literally me grabbing the camera, grabbing the mic, and being like, I don't have my life together. None of us do. A lot of us have better time as masking it. All of us have issues. I'm just willing to share it because I am so real and I'm so vulnerable. And I lost my voice for many years. And now I'm like, no, girl, you got it back. Like, overshare. I don't care. Like, I'm the queen of oversharing. And it is what it is. And if people judge me, let them judge me. Like, I am in sunny California. Like, no one can judge me. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm just here to encourage you guys and here to love you guys, to just tell you that when you just wait on God, let him give you strength, let him give you wisdom, let him give you things. And in this waiting season, basically what I read in Crazy Faith by Mike Todd, you guys should get it. In the book, basically he was saying, in the waiting season, if you're waiting for a specific thing, he's like, start serving at church. Like, start serving someone else's vision. Start serving someone else, and then God will bless. When you start serving someone else's vision, God's going to bless your vision. Bruh. That was revelation to me because how do I explain it? This has to be another episode, but I got burnt out. Like, point blank period. Like, I overserved, and it's not even just at work. It was literally before that when I was serving in dance. My schedule would be this. It would be Sunday, I was at church for all 3 services. Monday, I had Tabernacle Night of Prayer. Tuesday, I had a class with Apostle. Wednesday, I taught hop. Thursday, I had dance practice. Friday, youth service. Saturday, serving, 5 a.m. prayer, dancing all day. Sunday service. Like, I was at church every single day, and I got burnt out. And it was a lot. I overserved. I became a Martha than a Mary. And I think, just being real and transparent here, I was scared to serve again. I was like, God, like, I'm scared to open up and to really serve again, but I know that this is my home. I know that this church is my home, and I know that people even ask me, they're like, oh, Abby, like, how did you know that this church was your home? It was like, basically, I came to the ministry, and my friend told me about it. He was like, oh, come. And I was between this ministry and another ministry, and I remember coming into the service, like, sitting there and being like, is it gonna be good? Like, how's the praise and worship? How's the teaching? Do they minister? Are they gonna prophesy to me? Like, I was just very like that. Bro, I get in there. God humbled me real quick. He was like, it was like the best praise and worship, the best teaching. They laid hands on me. They prayed for me. Like, they ministered to me. I was on the floor crying. My lash was about to come off, and I'm like, Lord, like, this is it. And then I remember the moment that I knew, because the way that God showed me that King Jesus ministry was my home is that he told me, and I felt peace in my heart, and he was like, this is your home. And I wanted that same feeling, because I didn't want to move here unless I had a house, like, unless I had, like, church equals home. Like, I didn't want to move here unless I had a home. And my home, like my natural home, like the apartment, and my home, which is the ministry. So that was like my 2 biggest priorities, because I knew the job would come. I know God's going to provide, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, God got me, right? So I was giving my tithes and offerings. They were like, oh, text 77977, da da da. And I remember I do like different businesses and stuff. Like I do different things. So like you know, you get income at different places. And I got an income for a specific thing. And then that was my last set of my first fruits. And it came in that week. And then the Holy Spirit told me, well, I heard God say, he was like, give your first fruit to your new home. Boom. I was like, bruh. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, that's it. I don't even need to go to the other ministry, because God confirmed to me that this was my home. And once God says like seek first the kingdom of God, everything else shall follow, I was like, yes, sir. Like I was like, God says when, God says it, and I'm like, when, how I will jump and I'll do it. So yeah, that was my story. I'm sorry, I went off on a little tangent. But yeah, I just wanted to do like a little short-ish podcast, 40 minutes podcast, and just encourage you guys to wait on God. Wait on God. He'll renew your strength. And whatever burdens, whatever pain that you guys have, I just want to tell you that, you know, God is removing it. Let God remove it. Let God comfort you. You know, let God be a God of healing, and let God deliver you, and let God just show you what's up. Like, he loves you, dude. And he loves me. And God is so simple. So yeah, that's my tea. This is Finding Yourself podcast. And did I ever talk about the waves? Yeah, God said he's going to protect me and I'll never lack. But, you know, waves come in your life. Things happen. Stuff happens. And at the end of the day, seek God. Boom. Done. So I just want to encourage you guys. Again, I keep encouraging you. I'm always encouraging you. I just want to encourage you guys to keep going. You know, let this be a little encouragement to you. If you're in the waiting season, watch this video. If you're in this waiting season, hear this podcast. You know, let it be known that in the waiting, you're just gonna find more clarity about the future. Because like if you really take initiative of this waiting season and you really take advantage of this waiting season, you're gonna be so thankful for the next season that you're in. Because right now, God is giving you what you can handle. And if God knows I can handle this, then he's letting me handle it. So I'm just letting him take me in the season, take me on this journey. So yeah, I'm going to go home because it's getting dark and it's dark out here. I need to leave beautiful Malibu. So I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching on the YouTube video. If you guys like it, give it a big thumbs up. Like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media, be linked down below. If you guys are listening to the podcast, rate this podcast. Give your girl 5 stars, because this quality content, it's like high low quality, because it's like low quality with the iPhone, but then it's high quality with the content. I don't know, whatever. God's gonna glorify himself in this podcast. And thank you so much for all the love and everything in the previous podcast. Like, I'm just shocked that people like want to listen to me, and they want to listen to my voice, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe it. So I know people want the tea, but it's fine. And if it gives me a view, like, get the tea. Anyways, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next podcast. Bye, guys. God bless you.